You've been pinned down in the mountains of Afghanistan by the Taliban for about 30 minutes. TAC P with your squad calls for A-10 support from Bagram Airfield. After a few minutes, you start to hear the sound of A-10s entering your airspace. Pilots get in contact with your TAC P, who gives them directions on where to come in from. They come in from the southwest, do a strafing run with a 30mm Avenger cannon. As they circle back around, drop GBU-38 GPS-guided bombs on an enemy position, eliminating most of them, and those who remain scatter into the hills, while you and your squad retreat to safety. Good evening, my name is Justin Ashworth, and I'm here to talk to you today about the A-10 Warthog. Some of the things we're going to talk about today include a history of the aircraft, a few key things to know about the aircraft, such as missions, armament, and some stats. And then we're going to wrap it up by getting into the good stuff, which is the GAL-8 30mm cannon. Let's start this off with some history about the aircraft. These are a few history facts I was able to pull from airforcetechnology.com. First flight of the A-10 was in May 1972, and there were a total of 713 aircraft made. This is a picture of what the A-10 looks like, making a gun strafing run. Aircraft was originally manufactured by Fairchild Republic. In 1987, Northrop Grumman became the primary contractor for support and structural upgrade items. There's currently 367 aircraft in service that are spread across active duty, guard, and reserves. Lockheed Martin was picked as the primary contractor for the A-10C upgrade, which was an avionics program. What the A-10C program allowed to do was carry GPS, guided munitions, as well as some communications avionics upgrades. First flight of the A-10C was in January 2005. The program, the last few aircraft were just upgraded just a couple years ago. Now we talked about a little bit of history about the A-10. I'm going to move on to some of its missions, abilities, and stats that I pulled from us.af.mil. Primary mission in today's combat is going to be close air support, which is defensive support of friendly troops and vehicles. If you're in trouble, you can call for them and they'll come and help you out. Some of its other missions include airborne forward air control, which is the pilot of the aircraft will control battlefield operations for his area of responsibility, tell the other aircraft what they need to do, or how to defend themselves, or where to come in from, stuff like that. The other primary mission that's listed on that site is combat search and rescue. The A-10's role in which is observation, overwatch, and control. Something that wasn't listed on the website is that the A-10 is a very capable tank buster, which was its primary mission, Desert Storm. A-10 is not a particularly fast aircraft, top speed about 450 knots, which is well below speed of sound. But its large wingspan and fuel-efficient engines allow it to loiter in the battlefield for a long time, keeping overwatching their guys on the ground and making sure that they're safe and sound. The A-10 has a mixed array of armament, including 30mm cannon, the AIM-9 air-to-air missile, which is primarily used for self-defense purposes, AGM-65 missiles, which are air-to-ground missiles that are designed for use against vehicles and structures. Then you also have the GBU-30 series and 50 series GPS-guided bombs, as well as GBU-10, GBU-12, which are laser-guided, and then you have Mark 82, Mark 84, which are unguided bombs which are unguided. Now we talked a little bit about missions, abilities, and stats. We're going to move right on to the good stuff, the GAL-8A Avenger cannon. Here's a few facts about the GAL-8 I was able to pull from FAS.org. Here's a picture of the gun. This is the front of the gun with the barrel clamp with the mid-barrel support. which is the forward point for the gun system in the aircraft. As you move back, here's the actual gun itself with some of the ammunition feed chutes and such right here, moving back into the rest of the handling set. The GAU-8 is a 30mm, 7-barrel, air-cooled, hydraulically powered Gatling gun used against soft targets and tanks. It's mounted in the nose fuselage of the aircraft. It's capable of holding 1,174 rounds, but a normal combat load is only 1,150. The gun is capable of firing 3,900 rounds per minute, but is normally fired in short bursts to preserve both ammo and integrity of the system. The aircraft uses a mix of high explosive incendiary and armor-piercing incendiary rounds. The armor-piercing incendiary round has a depleted uranium core, whose density makes penetration, which aids in penetration. High explosive incendiary rounds employ an M505 fuse with some explosives that is used against soft targets. During combat, they fly a party mix of API of 4-to-1 API to HEI rounds. Something else that was kind of fun that I came across during my research is that the A-10 fired over 800,000 rounds during Desert Storm. Now that we talked a little bit about the GAU-8 Avenger, I'm going to wrap this up by saying it's good, if you're in trouble, it's good to go ugly early and call in support from the A-10 Warthog. Some of the things we talked about today include a history of the aircraft, some of its missions, abilities, and stats, and lastly, we wrapped up with the GAU-8 Avenger. Thank you all for your time, and I'd like you to remember to fear the hog.